Coach Davis wants this team to be identified by their defense, and boy, do they lock in and defend.
This is Tyler Zeller, and you're listening to Locked On Tar Heels.
You are Locked On Tar Heels, your daily podcast on the UNC Tar Heels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, what's up? It's Thursday, October 30th, 2025. Welcome into the Locked On Tar Heels podcast, the only daily North Carolina show out there. I'm your host, Isaac Schade. You're joining me at the place to get your Tar Heels content every single day. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks so much for making us your first listener watch to get your Hallows Eve going the right way. I don't know. Can we call it that, Coach? All Hallows Eve? Is that a thing?
It was Mischief Night when I was growing up back in Jersey, but that's a South Jersey thing. So, don't tell too many people about that.
Yeah, I don't know what y'all be doing in Jersey down on the boardwalk and all that, Coach. We'll talk about that, I guess, another day, because that's beyond me. Look, a special shout out to all the everydayers here with us, all the members of the Locked On Tar Heels Discord. That link's in the show notes, and our Locked On Tar Heels Insiders. That link also in the show notes. We'd love to have you join either or both of those groups, man. Great places to be. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if it hits, you're going to get $300 to use in bonus bets all across the app. Download that app and get started with it today. It is a Coach Rob Thursday. Coach, we got a few suggestions for Coach Rob Thursday names that came in, so we got to keep workshopping these and see what we're going to get to. Coach Rob, if you're unfamiliar with him, is the head coach at Milligan University, where the Buffs are off and running with their season already. Also, Coach is a 2-decade veteran of Carolina Basketball School, which is Carolina's summer basketball camp, man. He's been working that thing like a boss for all those years and has even written this great book about it. Carolina Basketball School, History, Stories, and Drills. You need to get your copy next Friday. Oh, by the way, Coach Rob will be at Alumni Hall for a book signing ahead of the Kansas game. If you're coming to Chapel Hill for that game, and even if you're just hanging out, go stop in, see him, get a book signed, or just go say hi and take a picture, whatever. Go meet Coach Rob, man. You'll be glad you did. And buy a little something while you're there. It'll be fun. All right, Coach, where we're headed today, Carolina had their last exhibition game last night, the fourth time we've been able to see them ahead of the season, the second time against a different team. 95-53 win over D2 Winston-Salem State. Once again, no LUKA BOGAVAC in this game. He was on the bench in street clothes, just smiling and making my heart break that he's not out there playing as well, but hopefully sooner rather than later. Coach, I think aside from a little bit of a lull in the first half, this game gave you a little bit of everything you wanted to see if you're Hubert Davis and the staff. And now it's for real come Monday. Coach, as we get started, I have to apologize to everyone that was in the live chat. And here's why. I had said to you, hey, look, I got to get out of here because I got to go record with Coach Rob. I'm going to get your questions and observations, and we'll get those into the show. Coach Rob, I have failed our community miserably, because I accidentally X'd out of that, and I didn't get all those down before I did so. And so I got none of that content for us today, though I promised everyone I would. And so I feel like I owe everyone something. I don't know what that is, but I feel like I've let us all down, Coach.
Next time. We'll get them next time.
Hey, I appreciate it. This is why you're the coach and I'm just a player. All right. Good. You've been doing this for a minute, I realize. All right. Here's where Coach and I are headed today. First segment, we're going to go big picture with it. What is the best things we've learned from the two exhibition games? What are the things that are most concerning from the two exhibition games? I also want to ask Coach about the benefits or not benefits of playing one high major, one D2 instead of two high majors. We'll look at that. We also are going to get to our Four Corners recap from this game. Shouts to Dean Smith. What a guy, what a legend. And then we'll wrap up the show today by giving Coach his last word before Carolina starts the regular season on Monday. So you could think of it as like closing arguments before the season starts. So Coach Rob, without much further ado, let's get this thing cracking. What is the best thing or the most encouraging thing from these two exhibition games, the BYU game and Winston-Salem State game ahead of Monday?
Yeah, the best thing that we've been talking about since camp in June is Caleb Wilson. And I think we've seen in all the preseason stuff that we've seen that he is the real deal, that he's exactly what we've been talking about. He is what we thought he was. Dennis Green, they are what we thought they were, statement. But he's I mean, as advertised, He's exactly what we were expecting. And I think because of that, Hubert and staff's going to push him. They're going to push him to be great. They're going to expect more out of him as the season goes along. I just think they'll expect more and more out of him. But he's been doing it at both ends too. It's not like it's just a scoring thing. He's at 6'9", 6'10", have the ability to get down into a stance and guard people and rebound and run and do all the things that we expect him to do. That's been super encouraging for me.
What I love about that defensive side of it, Coach, is, so many players say they love to play defense, and then you watch them play defense, and that actually tells you that they don't love to play defense. Yeah. You've seen that, I'm sure. I cannot even begin to fathom the number of times you've seen that in your life and career. Caleb Wilson ain't that, though. Caleb Wilson says he loves defense, and the boy loves defense, Coach. What, I almost care more about like the BYU game, yes, but also this one, because it's like, how do you show up and play defense against an inferior team? Like, do you still lock in? And I love that he did, Coach. What does that tell you about Caleb?
No, it just shows you about his character too. He's just a great kid, and he works hard. And when the lights are on, it doesn't matter who he's playing. He's going to go out and play basketball. He's going to play the way he's learned how to play, and he's not looking at the opponent. He's just going to go play. And that's what I'm impressed with, is that he's just going to play the same high level. If it's pickup, or if it's camp night in the summer, or if it's against Duke or the Final Four, whatever he gets to play in, he's going to play at a high level regardless of the competition.
Coach, what does it tell you that his stat line from the BYU game and this line were almost identical? I know it's two completely different types of opponents, as you're just saying, but a double-double with 10 rebounds, 4 of which were offensive, 22 and then 23 points, 3 blocks in each game, at least a steal. Did he have 2? I think 1 steal in each game. I mean, so similar in these stat lines. And of course, last night's game, he only had to play about as long as we're going to talk on this show here now. And so there's that. Obviously would have had more numbers had he played longer, but I think a lot of people discount the numbers you put up against inferior opponents. But Coach, what are your takeaways from the consistency we've seen from him in those 2 games?
Yeah, it's a trust factor. You want, as a coach, to be able to trust your kid that he's going to be consistent every night. He's going to, and you don't want somebody to score 30 one night and 0 the next. And I've had players do that, and it's super frustrating because you just don't know what you're going to get from night to night. But when you know you're going to get this type of effort, this type of play on a regular basis, then it allows you to be able to focus on other things because you know that that's set. You're good with your best player. Now I can really focus on developing other people. You're still going to push him. You're still going to develop him. But when you have that faith and trust in the kid and knowing that he's going to show up every night, other guys follow him too. There's a pressure that's maybe relieved off some of those other guys where they don't have to be the guy. And growing up, Caleb's been the guy. He's used to being the guy. So when he gets to a new stage, he still expects to be the guy. And I think it's going to be the same way at the next level. When he gets there, he's going to be so used to being the guy that he'll perform on a nightly basis, even at the NBA level.
So you'd rather have 20 and 10 every night than like 30 and 17 one night and 5 and 3 the other night? You'd rather have that higher floor than the higher ceiling?
Absolutely. You want, as a coach, you want that consistency to be there night to night and know what you're going to get from that kid. He'll still get some 30-point games, and I'm sure he'll still have some 10-point games, but that's part of being a freshman. And foul trouble and learning how to play, at this schedule he's going to have to play. But that more often times than not, he's going to give you a consistent game. That stat sheet's going to be full, and you can trust him to be there every night.
Coach, I said it on the live postcast. One of the things that's clear to me is that he's going to be Carolina's leading rebounder this season. I feel pretty certain about that. I asked you the most encouraging takeaway. My answer is the defense. I said that in the cold open. I just love to see, again, same kind of thing. Overmatched opponent. Yeah, I get it. Carolina just held Winston-Salem State to 20 of 71, Coach, 28% shooting. And it's like, yeah, you should do that against this type of opponent. But to actually then go out and do it is a whole other thing. And to do it across 40 minutes of a game where you're blowing them out and you still got to keep the pedal down defensively. Coach, you and I were looking at it before we started recording. From the time the starters went out with about 7 minutes left through the rest of the game, they still only scored 10 more points in this game. And that's the encouraging sign, is the backups come in and they're still buckled down and getting after it. I love to see that. Let's look at the other side of it, Coach. 2 exhibition games against other opponents. What for you is the highest or biggest concern coming out of the exhibition games?
Yeah, obviously the concern that everybody has is Luka's not there, but we're just going to ignore that because we don't know when that's going to change. I think the biggest concern right now for me is still the post, and I think Henri's done a good job offensively. He has not shown maybe the scoring that we know he can and hope he can. The one rebound is concerning to me from last night, and I'm not super concerned about that, but just the overall depth of the post is still a concern for me. And I think with ZAYDEN HIGH playing well one night, not well, not a good night, and that's the inconsistency we're talking about.
Yeah.
If we can get him playing at a high level consistently, and it doesn't have to be a super amount of stats. It just can't be a bunch of mistakes. He's just got to play more solidly, and that's still the biggest concern for me. I think the guard spot's really solid. Obviously, the wings are very talented. Is there enough depth there at the post player to make this a top 10 team?
I love what you just said about ZAYDEN, Coach. I was processing a very similar thing during the game. It's like I was thinking, it's not that he's doing anything crazy. It's just that he's not doing the negative things. And it stands out so often, players that are just doing what they're supposed to do, but it's not some crazy box score thing. You don't notice them. And sometimes those guys, you notice them more when they're screwing up. And I think that's why ZAYDEN stood out so much Friday night at BYU, is because he struggled. And we all struggle sometimes in games. I get that. Yeah. But I think what I loved about what he did on Wednesday night in that second exhibition is that he was just steady Eddie, led the team in assists. All 3 of them were to a different big to big pass over the top for an easy bucket. I love that. I didn't even check, Coach. I'm going to look right now as I'm talking. Did he have any turnovers? ZAYDEN HIGH, 0 turnovers, Coach. Second on the team in rebounding. He did what he needed to do. And if he can continue to show that, not just against the inter squad scrimmage or against Winston-Salem State, but against BYU, against Kansas on next Friday night, Coach, that's where we need to see it from him. And so we'll see how that comes to fruition. All right, here's the next place we need to go. 4 Corners recap, our tribute to Coach Smith. 4 big takeaways from this game. We'll look at all that and more coming up in just a second. Right after I tell you about FanDuel, you guys, the NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of a game, or maybe you want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything, from who's going to score the next bucket to fourth quarter comebacks and more. Plus, you can even combine your bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at an even bigger payout than you otherwise would get. All of this, man, it keeps every game exciting, and you're locked in because you're looking for big things to happen. How about some ACC regular season championship odds for men's basketball? Duke, not shockingly, leads the way, followed by Louisville, and then Carolina, and then NC State. You think the Tar Heels are going to take it to Duke and Louisville? Why not get in on that action, man? It's a great thing to do. If so, right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So go ahead and get on over to FanDuel.com right now to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. It's time for the 4 Corners recap, where we honor Coach Smith's 4 Corners offense, and we give you 4 takeaways from this game. Coach, first and foremost, was the ball movement. I thought we saw so many great opportunities tonight where the ball did not stick. The team was sharing it willingly, finding each other in good things, whether it was just swinging around the arc more quickly than I could say swinging around the arc, or whether it was big to big passing. We saw a lot of that. Coach, here's my question with it, though. Carolina had 15 assists in this game, 33 made buckets, but no one had more assists than ZAYDEN HIGH's 3. You had 4 of the 5 starters had at least 1 assist, with Jarin the only one not, plus ZAYDEN, plus Derek Dixon had 2, JAYDON YOUNG had 1, Isaiah Dennis had 1, and Jonathan Powell had 1. Coach, what do you make of nobody having a big volume of assists, but it being so spread out amongst those 15?
Yeah, I love it because I think it shows the depth that this team has. There's not a Kendall Marshall out there that's going to be controlling that ball and have 35 minutes and have to have the ball in his hands all the time. The ball's being shared. The ball's not sticking, as you said. That 1 second rule of being able to make a decision. I love it. I think it's great, and I think that's the way the modern game is going to be. I think everybody in that positionless play and everybody being able to catch, shoot, drive. Everybody's got to be able to handle the basketball. So this is, I think, is a great sign to see that a lot of different people making good decisions and a lot of different people making shots. I mean, that's the thing about assists. You can make great passes, but somebody else got to make that bucket too. So
That's
it's not a great percentage, probably because of the rebounds and some other reasons, why they didn't have a ton of assists tonight, but or last night. But it's still a really great sign, I think, to see so many different guys getting in on the action.
How big a factor, Coach, is like Carolina has more shooters on the court at any given time this year than they did last year. How big a factor is that in terms of them moving the ball so quickly and then guys trying to close out and then Carolina attacking all of that? How do assists like get helped out because of that better spacing? Do you get what I'm asking?
Yeah, definitely. And that's the huge thing about this too. And it's the trusting that guy to make the next play and not feeling I have to make a play. I have to make a shot all the time. It's being able to get a great shot instead of a good shot. And that's what I, really took from last night's game is that guys are willing to share the ball. They're willing to make the extra pass. And that's a trust factor for me to say, okay, I can give up this. I could get a shot here, but let me get a better shot from somebody else. And that's what makes a great team. It makes it really hard to defend a team like that too.
Yeah. Carolina winds up 4 of 4 on dunks, 12 of 20 on layups. Good to see the ball getting into the paint. Want to finish more of those, but that's good stuff. Coach, next in the Four Corners recap is rebounding. Carolina out-rebounded BYU just by a slim margin the other day, but there was some concerns about Carolina's ability to defensive rebound, hold the ball, be strong and firm with it. Obviously, again, it's Winston-Salem State, but Coach, the final numbers, Carolina 51 rebounds to 31 for Winston-Salem State. The Tar Heels get 35 defensive rebounds, 16 offensive rebounds, and oh, by the way, 21 second chance points off of those offensive rebounds. Coach, what do you make of that offensive number? Or the rebounding number, excuse me.
Yeah, the rebounding number should be like that if you're playing an inferior opponent. We play Middle Tennessee State next week. For one of our exhibition games. And that's the biggest thing that we have a hard time with is just either finishing a possession or getting any kind of offensive rebounds to get another, opportunity to score. But that's got to be a big number. So plus 20 is a great opportunity for them just to show that they do have the ability to go out there and grab a bunch of rebounds. And it's going to be different, obviously, in conference play and against bigger opponents, but that's showing that they're it's a 1-2 skill. And you've got to want to go get it. There is skill involved in technique, but you got to get guys that want to go get it. So I think that's a good number, and it's a good sign for the future.
Okay, got to keep doing it. As we said before, Henri Veesaar got to get in on that action. But let's shout out the guys that kind of led the way. Caleb Wilson with 10. ZAYDEN High, second leading rebounder with 7, and Jarin Stevenson with 6. So keep doing that, fellas. Next, Coach, maybe my biggest miss, I can't remember your thoughts on him, but my biggest miss, if the exhibition games are telling us anything or are prognosticators about what the regular season has in store, my biggest miss is JAYDON Young's role. I didn't think he'd have one. Coach, if the exhibition games tell us anything, JAYDON Young might have a role on this team. That's our third in the Four Corners recap. Excuse me, Coach. What do you make of it?
Yeah, I think everything that I heard from the summer and even through the fall, he's an explosive scorer that's streaky. And when he gets hot, he needs an opportunity to play minutes. And when he's not, then he's just not going to play as much. But if he can go in like he did last night, hit 3 threes and get kind of his own little personal, streak going, he's going to play. He's going to find a way to play. And the reality is, if you can shoot, you're going to get time. If you can make shots from the perimeter, you can make threes in today's modern game. You're going to find a way to get on the floor somehow. And it's not like he can't defend too. And it's not like he's just a 3-point shooter. He's a scorer. So when he gets hot and he can put the ball on the floor, he can finish, he can do a lot of different things. But because of, I think, maybe the overemphasized the length and the height and we're part of that. We've done that a lot. He's not 6'7" and long and athletic, and he may not pass the airport test, but he can play. And that's all that really matters is if you can play or not.
And, keeping in mind that two of the other critical backcourt pieces are both freshmen in Derek Dixon and Isaiah Dennis. Isaiah Dennis got a little burn on Wednesday night, but coach, they're going to go through their freshman moments. He's not a freshman. And so sometimes that maturity could play a big factor as well of like, hey, those guys are having freshman nights. Jayden Young's going to come in and steady the ship a little bit with some of those backup minutes. And while he's not massive, like some of the other guys, he is still 6'4", 200 pounds. And so Jayden Young's got some, makes me and my 5'11" look like a little buddy. And so there's part of that as well. So Jayden Young, man, good on you. Keep going, earn some good minutes in the regular season. I'm excited to see it. Coach, last thing I want to ask about is part of the Four Corners recap. Number 4 here is the free throw shooting. Carolina had what I'll just call an abysmal first half, 8 of 14 from the free throw line. I love that they got there 14 times. That's great. You want to keep doing that, but didn't make a ton of them. However, second half turned around and went 9 of 11. Coach, am I making a mountain out of a molehill? Does this matter to you? Do you care at all?
Not one bit. I'm not worried. I'm not worried at all. And it's one of those things that, the more you talk about it, the worse it gets. And I wouldn't, even as a coach, wouldn't talk about it at all. We may shoot a little extra free throws and not even let the team know it, but it's something that we do every day at the end of practice, shooting free throws. But no, it's too early to worry about that kind of stuff. It doesn't really matter. It's one of those things you got to let the guys go and get through it. And mentally, one of the big things that people don't realize is the free throw is the same distance. It's the same thing. High school, when you get to college, it's the exact same dimensions. Everything's the same. It's a harder shot in college when it is in high school. And we talk about this with some of our guys sometimes from a mental perspective, because the pace of the game is different. Now your legs, you're more tired, you're all those, and it's for, again, those freshmen, it's the first time they've been in this college game, and you're thinking, here's my first college point, or here's my first college free throw, and all those little mental things come into play. So it just have to get through, and there's got to be a little bit bigger sample size before we start to worry about it.
And coach, maybe something we can take away is the 25 attempts, which would have been the 9th most for Carolina last season. Obviously, it's not a regular season game. And on the flip side of that, after it was a foul fest and they sent BYU to the line a ton, they did much better defending without fouling. Only 9 free throw attempts for Winston-Salem State. So that does the attempt side of that give you a little more something to look at?
Oh yeah, that's great, and that's what it should be at a game like that, especially at home. And if it's always different at home. If you're always going to shoot more free throws, regardless of whether the officials want to, they do that consciously or unconsciously. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
We didn't shoot a whole lot of free throws this past weekend on the road either, so it's just part of it, and you just got to get used to it. And the fouling. The defending without fouling is a huge concept right now, and you've got to be able, the way the game is called, and you've got to be able to move your feet, stay in front of people, and so I think that intensity and the defensive focus was great.
Okay, that's good, man. Yeah, to see Seth Trimble's athleticism just on full display. He took over the game for a little bit there in the first half. Really, really good stuff. Coach, I want to ask you coming up in the last segment to give us, again, your closing thoughts for the team ahead of the regular season, and also just the makeup of the 2 exhibition games they played. Do you like one of each? Would you rather it be 2 high majors? I want to get your thoughts on that. All coming up to wrap the show in just a second. Hey, right after I tell you about Mazda, who crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride, with more IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus awards than anybody else as of August 2025. From footwork to breathwork, man, athletes sweat all the details. Mazda, they do the same thing. They bring that same level of intentionality to how they craft every model. You can feel that incredible Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents all the way to the available Napa leather upholstery. And with all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any season, even those Jersey winters coach knows all about. Because with Mazda, everyday drives, they feel like anything but, from the smooth handling all the way to the intuitive controls and everything in between. And like all the Tar Heel athletes and all coach buffs, Mazda sweats every detail, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. Coach, let's tie a bow on the exhibition season. And to do so, I want to ask you about the makeup of this thing, because in this day and age, we get to do basically whatever we want in making up our 2 exhibition games. Each of the first 2 years of that, Carolina has played a higher level team and a D2 in-state team. Last year, it was a game on the road at Memphis, true road game, and then back for Johnson C. Smith at home. This year, it was essentially a true road game at BYU in Salt Lake City, and then at home against an in-state D2 school. Coach, what are the pros and cons of doing a 1-1 like that versus 2 games against a high major?
Yeah, I know that the local D2 games are really important to Hubert personally. That's something he wants to do, and that's his relationships with those schools, and that's a heart thing. So I think they're great. From a coaching perspective, I think they're great because they did get to pull their starters with 8 minutes left and got to see a bunch of people play, and you want that to help those guys stay motivated in practice every day. You got to give them an opportunity to play in front of the crowd, on the Smith Center floor. So. Keeping Caleb at 21 minutes, and I think Jonathan Powell played 24 minutes is the most anybody played. I think that's good for the team too. Everybody gets that good warm feeling because everybody got to win, everybody got to play, you got to dominate the team. But then you also had a great away on the road fight against a top 10 team, and I think that's a great thing too when you can go and you can compete, but it's also not counting as a loss to your record. I think that's the best of both worlds in those situations. To be able to have that kind of exposure, that was at the exhibition games, there couldn't have been too many that were more important nationally than that game. So I think from my perspective, he got exactly what he wanted. Don't care about the loss, competed really well, got to play some home, against some people that he really cared about. So I think it was exactly what he wanted.
Okay. I like that. Great explanation. Coach, you think you would do it the same, one of each like that?
Um, I don't, because it's different because we have 2 exhibition games. We need to raise money. So we go out and we're playing MTSU once. We're going to go play Miami of Ohio in December with Jonathan Holmes, who's a Carolina alum,
Yeah. Yeah.
was on my staff for a year. His first job was with me. So we'll play them December 22nd, right before Christmas. But we'll make some money, and our program needs that. So that's our motivation. Our motivation's a little bit different. Of course, Carolina made some money for going out to Utah too. It was a pretty good check for them. But we're using it for operational stuff. They're using it for NIL stuff. So it's, again, a little bit different at different levels.
Okay. So then take off your Bill Robinson Milligan head coach hat and put on your Hubert Davis hat. Which would you do?
I do exactly what Hubert's doing. I think it's great. And I
Okay.
think it's a great opportunity. And we used to play, 4 or 5 easy games early in the year. I don't necessarily like to have that many, but it's good to get 1, maybe 2, games where you're going to dominate. You can work on your stuff. You can run a lot of stuff, and you can play a lot of people.
As you said, a great opportunity last night against Winston-Salem State to get a whole 10 different Tar Heels played double-digit minutes last night, Coach. That's what you want out of this. Just get more reps to try stuff and work stuff. I know it made you extremely happy to see Kyan Evans picking up full court from the tip of this game. At first made bucket, he's picking up full court. You've been begging for it for a while, and hopefully we will see it when Monday comes around. My fingers are crossed, and we'll see what happens with all of that. Coach, the other thing I want to do is, you now have seen, publicly, we have seen this team 4 times. You have seen this team since June in various opportunities. At camp, in the camp games, at camp in late night pickups that nobody else gets to see. When you went to practice a month or 2 ago, I guess it was August, maybe September, I can't remember now. And these 4 public opportunities. So outside of the internal people, you have had your eyes on this team more than just about anybody out there, Coach. That said, I would love to get your just closing thoughts on this team ahead of the regular season.
Yeah, to me, the biggest thing is the depth. And you just alluded to it with how many minutes everybody got. I think that's going to be a pattern. I think you're going to see 9, maybe 10 guys, playing in a pretty consistent rotation, the way I see it. No Iron 5, no, but you still have that stud. You still have to have that one guy that you can rely on to get you a bucket. to consistently get you a double-double. Those are the type of things that you have to have. And then you've got some great role players too when it comes to the Jarin Stevensons, Jonathan Powell's, the guys who Jarin Stevenson to me, I think is still so important because he
Yes.
does all the little things, but he's still
Yes.
making shots, and he doesn't have to have the ball in his hands to make an impact. But then you still have Seth Trimble, who's that senior leader who can go off at any time, but yet he's going to play defense every night. And that's the next thing, is that everybody is bought in. I don't think they were in June. It's hard to get bought in about defense in the summer.
Sure.
But
Sure.
just from what I've seen recently, everybody's bought in. They believe in themselves. They can trust each other on the defensive end. And when you have that combination of depth, defensive focus, intensity, and then you have the ability to shoot the basketball and score the way they do. They've got consistent shooters. If you have some guys who are having a tough night shooting, there's somebody else waiting to come back in. I mean, it's that deep right now. So I think they have all the pieces to really make a run. And I saw Tyler Hansborough's interview the other day and talking about how the high ceiling could get him to a Final Four. I believe it, and it's hard to argue with Tyler anyway, and I wouldn't do it in front of him. But
That's right. I wouldn't
he's there's no reason why the ceiling can't be that high, and it's I mean, it's going to take some time. It's going to take some great efforts, and but there's a lot of pieces there, a lot of really quality pieces there, and I believe in this team.
It's going to take getting LUKA BOGAVAC worked into it as well. Coach, to your depth point, I think here's the thing that we're going to have to wait and see. The first 3 years of the Hubert Davis era, the Tar Heels were outside the top 300 in terms of bench minutes played nationally. Last year was the first time they were inside the top 300, but all the way up to 213th. Coach, I'm curious to just watch where that number is this year, the bench minutes percentage played, as well as where Carolina ranks nationally. Can they, I'm not saying they got to get into the top 100 or even top 150, but do you see it being inside the top 200, right? Can they, last year, they used their bench 30% of the time. Do you legitimately think, because the history of the first 4 years of the Hubert Davis era tell us that it won't play out that way. Do you legitimately think Coach Davis will utilize that bench and that depth more this season?
Absolutely, and there's no doubt in my mind. And Caleb's still going to play a ton of minutes. He's still going to play 30. Seth's going to play a ton of minutes. I think Henri's going to play a ton of minutes. But after that, you have guys that are going to play 18 to 22 minutes. You're going to have some guys that consistently play 8 to 12 minutes. And it comes back to what we talked about earlier. If the guys are making shots, they're going to play.
Yeah.
If the guys are going to defend, then they'll play. I mean, they have to be able to do both. You have guys that can make mistakes, and especially if they're mental mistakes, there's somebody waiting to come in for them. So it's not going to be something that there'll be a whole lot of hesitation there. But I do think it'll be under 200. I don't necessarily think it's going to get under 150. Just because you have guys like Seth, Caleb, and Henri that have to be on the floor a significant amount. Henri won't average 30 minutes, but he'll average more than 25.
Yeah. And philosophically, that's not how this team or any Hubert Davis team is constructed. So you wouldn't do that, right? If you're Leonard Hamilton, you've constructed your roster that way, and you're going to play 47 dudes each 10 minutes a game. That's just what he did, right? So there you go. All right, Coach, I cannot believe the wait is over. Another offseason is behind us. It is time for the games to count. Central Arkansas Monday, Rock Chalk Jayhawk on Friday. Let's get it going. It's going to happen. And next time you and I talk, the Tar Heels are going to be, or talk on the show anyway, the Tar Heels are going to be hopefully 1-0. Central Arkansas is not very good, you guys. Just buckle up for that on Monday night. And man, we're going to be off and running before we know it. Want to thank you all so much for being here with Coach and I today. Want to thank you, Coach, for another great offseason of content, bringing us all your insight from being there at camp and everything else, man. I'm so grateful for you. And I know I try to tell you as often as I can, man, but also want to make sure to say it publicly.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I'm glad to be part of it. Just a little bit.
It's so fun. You're a massive part of it. Guys, if you don't have this book, Carolina Basketball School, you need to get it now on Amazon. Email Coach if you'd like to get a signed copy, or better yet, go meet him in person next Friday at Alumni Hall there in Chapel Hill. It'll be a great opportunity to see Coach, meet him, get a signed book if you want to do that. You guys, if you've not subscribed to the show, make sure you do that right now on video and audio. If you've not joined the Discord or the Insiders group, do that right now as well. We'd love to see you in there. A great community to be a Tar Heel. I promise you that. I guard that thing and take as much care of it as I can so that we're not getting people being dorks in there. We don't need that. We need people being good to each other, and that's what I'm trying to curate with this community. All right, y'all. It's always a great day to be a Tar Heel. We'll talk again tomorrow to get ready for the Halloween game at Syracuse. Ooh, that's going to get spooky, and everything else upcoming this weekend. Oh, man. And then basketball's here. It's crazy. We'll talk again soon, but until then, peace.